Hello everyone, welcome back, and this is Naveen from UiBrains. In this video, we're going to discuss about a new concept of JavaScript again, that is promise. So let's write about promises in JavaScript. So generally, just tell me what is the general meaning for promise. General meaning for promise. Promise means it's a pledge kind of, right? Because one person make a promise, correct? So for a promise, two things can be there. Promise can be fulfilled, cannot be fulfilled, right? uh, so same way, in JavaScript we have some functions. So this function will have two callbacks. Okay, so one is resolve and one is reject. A promise is actually a JavaScript function, so which will take in two callbacks. So till now we discuss only one callback, right? So without any reason, just what are the callback you pass it, just call back the same function, right? In this promise, a function which will take two parameters, one is resolve and one is reject. So two callback functions, and they're gonna call based on the promise. If the promise is fulfilled, gonna call resolve, and the promise is not fulfilled, go and call the reject. So this is the concept. So let's see how to make a normal callback functions with a promise approach, and then we'll see the real promise how can you do in JavaScript, and then we'll see the real-time example of JavaScript promise. Okay, so for this I need to have a separate folder structure. So 33 over, copy this, 34 underscore JS underscore promise, delete this. Yeah, here promises. Okay, let me close this, and let me open this normally promise here. Okay, let me inspect console. Okay, here uh, let's see what is exactly a promise. So promise concept with callbacks. Okay, so we are gonna achieve the promise concept with callbacks, and then I'll tell you the real how to create a promise using JavaScript. Okay, so see here a promise. What kind of promises? I'll just tell you do some task. Okay, so student can say yes, promise that I can do a task. So thing is, he may do, he may not do, correct? So these type of functions you're gonna write even in JavaScript. That's actually a promise concept. So what I do is I say let do task, okay, is equal to one function. You can just take an arrow function. Okay, inside you have not one callback, you have two callbacks. So one is success, okay, and one is failure. You can take resolve and reject, but I'm just taking success and failure as of now. Okay, so here you are doing the task, okay, and after some time you will just declare that is the task is done or not. Yes, task is done, true. If the task is done, I'm gonna call success function, and the task is not done, I'm gonna call a failure function. Okay, so but previously what we discussed is you're gonna pass one callback function, you're gonna call directly that one. We don't have any condition checking. But here we have two functions. This is one function, this is one function. You are passing as a parameter. So I check like this: if is done. If task is done, I'm gonna call success function stating that task is done. Okay, else failure, just say task is not done. Okay, so do task, it is like this, it's calling two functions. Now how to call that? So do task, but here success is a function, failure is a function. You have to pass two functions as parameters. So what I do is I'll just take one function, comma, another function. Okay, so two functions I'm calling. But here this function is having with parameter and this function also having parameter. So I'll just make in the next line. So you just take the message and I'll just write console.log of message. Next here message, let's say console.log of message. Okay, so this how you can call this function, this normal function, right? Now see, if I refresh, you get the message task is done. For failure I'll make this error just to represent in a red color message. Error is this one. So you get the message task is done because is done is true. Suppose if I make it as false, it's not done. If not done, what happens is gonna call failure function. It means the second function gets executed. It means it takes the message what you have passed, it executes that. Now you get the answer is task is not done. Okay, so here in this we actually achieve the promises concept using callbacks, but this is not actually a callback. Sorry, this is not actually a promise which we can create in JavaScript. So creating actual promise is different. Okay, so let's see the real promise in JavaScript. Now here let's see the actual promise creation. How to create a promise in JavaScript is like this. Let's take some promise like I just promise I'll clean camera. Okay, so let's clean camera is my promise. So how to create a promise actually in JavaScript is new promise, capital P promise. This is the built-in object promise. So here you will be having one callback function. This will have two parameters. One is resolve and one is reject. So resolve is like your success function. Reject is like a failure function. Okay. So here I just started cleaning camera. Okay, so finally let's is done is equal to true. So I feel like yes, camera cleaning is done. Now I do one thing. If it is done, if cleaning is done successfully, I call resolve function stating that cleaning is done. Okay, else reject, I'm doing, let's say cleaning is not done. Okay, generally where you use this type of callback functions is when you are trying to access some data from a server. Okay, if you're trying to get data from server or you want to get data from database, you may have two choices. If database up and running, you may get data, right? If database is down, you won't get data. So you will write the case where promise if server down, you execute the reject message if something went wrong. If something is everything is perfect, then you will get the data. So this is actually a promise concept. Fine, you declared a promise, then how to call a promise? If you create a promise with new promise, then how to call that is like this: clean camera dot then dot catch. So dot then is nothing but resolve, dot catch is nothing but reject. So dot then will have actually a callback. This is the resolve, and dot then dot catch will have that is reject. So here this is a function, right? This function is actually a resolver. So resolve is having some message. I'll just take message. So let's say console.log of message. Next for catch message, and I just write console dot error of message. Okay, just take error. Okay, generally we write is error, catch error. Okay, fine. So you're gonna call, you can create in this way promise and you're going to call the promise dot then dot catch. Dot then is nothing but a successful execution. Dot catch is nothing but a unsuccessful execution of a promise. Now save it and refresh. Cleaning is done because um, it is true. It's called resolve. That's why you got a message. Cleaning is done as a console log. Suppose if I make it as false. If I make it false, it executes reject. Reject means it execute a catch. So what happens? You get the message. Cleaning is not done. So you get the error. So this way you can make a promises in JavaScript. Okay, so this is about actually a promise. And in the next video, let's start with the dependent promise in JavaScript because one promise depend on other promise. So how to call and let's see the dependent promise in the next video. Thank you so much for watching and please subscribe to my channel and we'll meet next video. Thank you.